What's up, guys? Brett Appley here from dailyfanmma.com, back with another UFC Quick Picks on the Mayo Media Network. We have UFC 277 this weekend. Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes, the rematch in the main event. Also have Brandon Moreno versus Kai Kara France in the co-main event for the interim flyweight title. Should be a really fun card. 13 fights on the slate. Also really excited because DraftKings just announced a $1 million fantasy world championship for MMA. This sport is really growing, and it's partially thanks to your support, so really appreciate that. As usual, I'm going to give you my favorite cash game play, tournament play, salary play, and a matchup that I'm looking forward to from a DraftKings perspective. And before I get into those picks, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let me know who's coming home with the belts this weekend. 2 title fights. They're kind of both up for grabs. Let me know who you think will win the main event and the co-main event. And if you're looking for more DraftKings breakdowns, just recorded a full premium podcast as well, rankings, projections, all that good stuff. We have the promo code 277 on dailyfanmma.com. That's going to get you 30% off your first month. A lot of big cards coming up, so if you would like more content, please check that out, dailyfanmma.com. Without further ado, let's get into my cash game play of the week, which is going to be Brandon Moreno at 8.9K. All right, for cash games, I like Brandon Moreno at 8.9K. I'm going to spoil the co-main event here. I do think it should be a competitive fight, but I definitely favor Moreno, and I think from a cash game perspective, he rates out quite well. He's minus 210 to win. Obviously, these two fought before back in 2019, I believe. Moreno won by decision, landed 91 strikes, Kara France 82 significant strikes. My concern for Moreno in this rematch is just that he's not going to grapple, which he did not grapple in the first fight with Kara France, and he did not grapple against Figueiredo in their most recent title fight. And I think he kind of, lost some win equity because he did not do that. And Moreno's definitely the superior grappler here, in my opinion. He's a better wrestler. He has submission upside. Kara France rates out well defensively as a wrestler, defending takedowns at, I think, 86%. But he's coming off a win against Askar Askarov, in which he was still taken down a couple times, gave up his back in almost every single round, had his back taken by Bontarine, taken down by De La Rosa, taken down by Elias Garcia. Like, he's been taken down by a lot of opponents throughout his career. And I think Moreno, if he comes in and implements a wrestling style, should have some success on the ground, should be able to land takedowns, and again, ability to take the back, some submission ability as well. The positive news is that even if this fight just plays out on the feet, I favor Moreno, especially over the course of 25 minutes. He had a competitive first round with Kara France the first time, but kind of took over in rounds 2 and rounds 3, proved himself a superior distance striker, showed an effective kicking game that Kara France didn't really have. And Moreno, is experienced over 25 minutes where Kara France really is not. I also think Moreno's more durable here and probably more dangerous than Kara France. Moreno is one of the toughest fighters in this division, so I don't really think it's likely that Kara France wins inside the distance if he wins at all. Moreno plus 215 inside the distance, Kara France plus 525. At 8.9K, you're getting exposure to a fighter who has 25 minutes to work with, who can wrestle and grapple, who can strike at a high pace, and who's a moderate favorite with some finishing ability as well. You can still pay up to the Moraleses, the Ankalaevs, the Nunes of the world, and I'll probably do that in addition. But Moreno rates out very, very well from a safety perspective. 8.9K, I think he's going to be one of the anchors in my cash games this week. Really like him and this matchup as a whole. All right, moving on to tournaments. I'm going to give what I hopefully think is a more sneaky target in Orion Kosi at 8.8K, $100 cheaper than Moreno. Kosi is minus 180 to win against Mike Blood Diamond Mathetha. And Mathetha, I'm going to call him Blood Diamond, that's his name on DraftKings. Diamond, he trains out of that same city kickboxing camp as Israel Adesanya and Volkanovski. Kickboxing background, trying to follow in the steps of Adesanya. And if you remember, I actually gave out Blood Diamond as my salary play of the week when he fought in his UFC debut, I'm pretty sure, against Jeremiah Wells, because I said, look, if he can keep this fight standing, which we don't know because there's almost no regional tape out there on him. He's a large underdog. Granted, we shouldn't expect too much, but he is a dangerous kickboxer, and he should have success at range. Unfortunately, Wells just took it to him, landed a takedown very quickly, And I did not like what I saw from him on the ground. The way he gave up the takedown, his scrambling ability, his defensive grappling, couldn't get off his feet, or couldn't get up from his back, didn't defend the submission very well. And he lost. He lost by first round submission. So now he's facing another aggressive opponent in Orion Cosce, who's not that technically strong, like not a fighter that I'd be willing to invest much in over the long run. But Cosce's aggressive. Cosce's aggressive, and he's tough, and he's going to come in here and wrestle. He also lost his UFC debut against Phil Rowe, got knocked out in round 2, but he landed 2 takedowns early, controlled most of the first round, and won that first round. And Phil Rowe's pretty good. And I feel like if Cosce can have that much success against Rowe early, he should probably be able to have success against Blood Diamond early. And I think it's quite likely that just translates into a ground-based finish. Cosce's plus 105 to win inside the distance, which is a very good mark for 8.8K. And with the aggression and the grappling style, I think it's very realistic that he exceeds value and is competitive with the optimal lineup in a win. The risk here is that he just sucks, can't land takedowns, and gets knocked out. And so I will have still some exposure to my guy Blood Diamond down there at 7.4K. This fight is minus 240 to end inside the distance. This is also the preliminary opener, so I'm hoping that the public, gravitates toward Nunes and Ankalaev and Morales and Dober and Moreno and Pantoja. And maybe this first fight gets overlooked a little bit. Minus 240 inside the distance for the fight as a whole definitely lets me know that we should be considering an investment here. And based on the stylistic matchup, the dynamic where Cosce is going to need takedowns and ground and pound and a finish, or Blood Diamond's going to need to stand at range and probably win by knockout to win it all, I feel like the winner has fantasy potential for sure, and especially on the side of Cosce. So I'm hoping he comes in a bit under-owned at 8.8K. Good inside the distance line, great matchup dynamic, aggressive fighter who can grapple. Sneaky target there, my tournament play of the week at 8.8K. Moving on to my salary play of the week. There's a lot of fighters I could talk about here. The name I'm going to throw out is Rafael Alves at 7.2K. He's a plus 160 underdog to Drew Dober, and I think he has upside for this price. Alves is another fighter who I don't want to invest in the long run. Coming into the UFC, I really didn't like him because he's such an early finish or bust type of fighter. Like, he has knockouts, or he wins by guillotine choke, or he just gets tired and loses. And so that's a similar dynamic here, where if Alves doesn't win inside the distance in the first round, he's probably just going to lose, and maybe he'll get knocked out by Drew Dober. I think that's pretty realistic. But, Alves, he's not the type of first round or bust finisher where he can only beat the lowest level of opponent. He actually had some success against Damir Ismagulov, knocked him down. And he's coming off a first round submission over my guy Mark Jacasey. Hurt him very early, jumped on a guillotine, minute and 48 seconds, scored 92 points on DraftKings. Now, Drew Dober is a better fighter. Dober's a better Muay Thai striker, much better cardio, probably a better wrestler as well. But we've seen Dober submitted a bunch of times in the UFC, mostly by good competition, Makhachev, Dariush, but Aubin Mercier, Efrain Escudero, Leandro Silva, dating back to 2015, and he's coming off a win against Terrence McKinney, in which he was also hurt very badly early in the first round. So am I confident in Rafael Alves here? Not really. But for 7.2K, he's priced right between Kai Kara France and Juliana Pena. If you're looking to kind of pivot away from those championship options, Alves, I think, at least has finishing upside. He's plus 244 inside the distance, which is a really good number for this price. And he has the style to, win inside the distance early. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to try and win by knockout or submit you quickly. That's his main path to victory against an opponent who's been somewhat durable to that style in the past. I think Rafael Alves, 7.2K, just presents upside for the price. So you don't have to pay this far down, but if you do, there's the championship options, and I think Alves is another really strong play for his finishing ability, good inside the distance line, aggressive fighter, good price. I like Alves as my salary play of the week at 7.2K. And finally, the matchup of the week I would like to talk about is Sergey Pavlovich versus Derek Lewis. This one's going to be a bit obvious, but I think you guys need exposure to it on DraftKings. Pavlovich is 8.2K. Derek Lewis is 8K. Pavlovich is minus 140 to win. Lewis plus 120 is the underdog. This fight is minus 610 to end inside the distance. Pavlovich is coming off 3 consecutive first-round victories. He scored 109, 109, and 107 points. His one loss prior to that, first-round finish to Alistair Overeem. But still, all 4 of his fights ended in round 1. Derek Lewis, we know the drill. He has early knockout upside. Also not the most durable fighter in the world. Poor defense. And the writing's on the wall. It's very likely that one of these two gets hurt and gets finished. My preferred play is Pavlovich. I really don't usually pick Derek Lewis to win because he strikes at a very low rate. He lands, let me pull up his metrics, 2.56 significant strikes per minute. Defending strikes at 41%. It's really, really poor. Pavlovich, I worry about him in an extended fight. I worry about him on the ground, but he will throw strikes at a higher rate than Lewis, I believe. He's probably a better athlete, a little bit faster, and so I think he has a little bit more round-winning potential as well. But minus 110 to win inside the distance at 8.2K. Pavlovich obviously has plenty of upside and is capable of ending up on the winning lineup. And Derek Lewis in the same plus 150 to win inside the distance. Pavlovich's only loss has come by first round knockout. And if Lewis wins, it's quite likely that it's an early knockout as well. So great opportunity to invest in a fight that's extremely likely to end inside the distance here, minus 610. I will be not going all in on this fight because the public will be heavy on it as well, and I think there's room to carve out some lineups that fade this fight just in case, but it's one of the more obvious fights on the slate to target. From an upside perspective, I think you should have exposure to both sides. Personally, I will lean towards Sergey Pavlovich. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week's UFC Quick Picks. Thank you again for the support. You can follow me on Twitter, @Appley, @TTP, dailyfanmma.com, again, for all your DraftKings breakdowns needs. So much content coming out this week. Use that code 277 to get yourself 30% off your first month on dailyfanmma.com. Best of luck in your contest this week, guys. Stay safe. Take care. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.